It looks as if it's it. Under starters' orders. They're off. And again, the runners, led by Most Secret and Mill Reef, coming out into the centre of the course. Racing alone over on the far side is Tremblay. They've gone a quarter of a mile, and there's little to choose between Tremblay over on the right. I think Tremblay is in fact just the leader. From King's Company, Most Secret, Mill Reef going easily in the centre of the leaders. Then Don Quixote and Green Guard are both up level with the leaders on the left. They're almost in line, with the exception of Tremblay, who at halfway I think is still just in front. Tremblay just in front, and now Mill Reef has come smoothly up to come away from the others and join Tremblay in the lead. With a quarter of a mile to go, Mill Reef, who looks to me to be cantering, has gone into the lead from Green Guard, Grand Chaudière, Most Secret and King's Company. And as they come now to the final furlong, it's Mill Reef coming away in the most impressive style. Jeff Lewis has a quick peep over his shoulder. It's Mill Reef coming right away from Green Guard, Grand Chaudière, then Most Secret, King's Company and Gaillard, and Mill Reef winning tremendously impressively. This must be a very good colt indeed. Passing the post, Mill Reef the winner, Green God second, Grand Chaudière third, then Gaillard, King's Company and Most Secret, followed by Don Quixote, and finally
Public
Tremblay.
gallop against two stablemates on Newbury Racecourse. Aldi, an enthusiastic grey, a Morris dancer, an ageing star of Kingsclear do their best. But they seem to be running through syrup as Mill Reef quickens away from them in the straight.
Mill Reef was the most perfect specimen of a small horse.
I used to go and fetch him from the airport when Mr. Mellon used to send him over. And this particular year, there was Mill Reef, and I think there was 3 or 4 great big giant horses. And I saw this little pony covered in paddock scars, and I thought this would do me, and that was it.
He was only 15 too, but he was just beautifully made.
When I first rode him at Salisbury, some trainer said to me, you know, he's been slow out of the gate, and so, you know, I don't know how good he is, because my 2-year-olds aren't very good, you know.
I think I was driving to Epsom thinking he would stay, because we'd worked him over 1.25 miles and he'd finish like a tray.
Frascati, Mill Reef improving fast there, Irish ball.
Anyway, he flew the gate for a start, and I was 5 in front before you know it, and so when I came in, I said to the trainer, I hope we got one quicker out of the gate than this, because if this is slow, I don't know what you've got.
The Derby is always a special race that any trainer would want to win.
We used to cycle to the Derby from Shepherd's Bush.
I thought he probably had a pretty good chance.
Over a quarter mile to go, it's Linden Tree challenged by Lombardo with Mill Reef cruising up on this side.
He gave me the greatest pleasure that I've had, ever.
And Mill Reef it is. It's Mill Reef the favourite coming on inside the last furlong. Linden Tree in second place, Lombardo third. Irish Ball running on very strongly to try and get third place. As they come up the line, it's Mill Reef the winner.
I would say Mill Reef was the best horse I've ever seen, because he had such speed over 5 furlongs, and yet he could go for 1.5 miles. It was extraordinary. This is actually Watership Down, and we did our main gallops up here. It's the best turf in England. It's just lovely, and they used to just join up at the bottom of the hill and quicken up past us, and it was right opposite us when he broke his leg.
I got to here, and I heard the crack, and I jumped off his back straight away. I knew he'd broke his leg.
But it was horrifying. I see him sort of stumble almost, and John jump off, and I knew there was a big problem. And we walked him across with difficulty, very slowly. I can remember thinking, how are we ever going to get him up the ramp? You know, because it had taken us 20 minutes at least to get him across. He just took one jump. He understood, I think, and suddenly it was sort of shaking like this. We laid him down against the straw bales, and he just slid down. It was extraordinary.
I think he was given it, then he just started out, and we just hauled him up on up on the straw bales.
He was the best three-legged
Yeah.
walker you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And we had to get Jim Roberts to come and he said, find me a broom handle. And he drilled 2 holes and put a couple of bits of string in it and attached it from his near fore to his off hind, which was brilliant.
I was glad he was alive and he was in the right place. But you say void. I used to look after Morris Dancer as well, and he helped to fill it.
Already getting a tremendous reception from the crowd. The Derby winners packed up. It's Mill Reef, the fantastic winner of the King George.
So we're here at the National Stud, where Mill Reef, of course, retired in 1973. He made an incredible impact to the National Stud and, of course, the modern thoroughbred in general. He was champion sire on 2 occasions in 1978 and 1987, and it's an incredible part of our history here at the National Stud today.
Obviously, it's a huge honour to be remembering Mill Reef this time, 50 years on. It's a horse who meant a huge amount to myself and my family. Obviously trained by my father 50 years ago. He's an exceptional 2-year-old, and I think he's one of the very few horses who've won a Gimcrack and a Derby and a Dewhurst and a King George and an Eclipse, and of course the King George here. So he was a fabulous racehorse.
Mill Reef is, of course, regarded as one of the best racehorses of all time, and his stallion career definitely matches that when we go through the history books. We're very lucky Mr. Mellon decided to stand Mill Reef here. There was substantial offers from the USA at the time. Mill Reef was valued in around £2 million, which of course in that era was an astronomical amount of money for any horse. So it's quite amazing really. Throughout his 13-year career, Mill Reef had 394 foals, which in nowadays, you know, from the amount of foals stallions have, is quite minuscule. But he still managed to have 63 black type winners, which equates to 16%. And when you equate that to the greats of our modern era, such as Dubois and Galileo, they always fluctuate around 12-13%. So 16% is quite amazing what he achieved. And on top of that, he also had 18 Group 1 winners, most notably Shirley Heights, and of course Reference Point, who was the Epsom Derby winner and the King George winner. One thing we do know from his time here was the kind nature Mill Reef always possessed. All the records, which included obviously from his handler George Roth and the staff here, always alluded to that. He was such a kind horse with a great temperament. And to say really that's why he was able to overcome such a devastating injury and managed to become such a successful stallion. You know, that was really one of his true accolades while he was here, and what he's always remembered for was his general good temperament and kind nature. So Mill Reef was such a popular icon really amongst the public, and when he retired to stud, he had many visitors. People used to love to come and visit him. And one thing to say always struck the people was his size. You know, the fact he was 15'2", and yet was just an incredible racehorse, and size didn't matter. He was such a successful 2-year-old, and from 6 furlongs to 1.5 miles was just an incredible racehorse, and what he achieved, and size never stood in his way, it really helped capture the people's attention and emotions, and people had that connection to the horse. Even after he's passed, the stud received letters, received wreaths, and even the tours now, when they walk by the statue, everyone remembers Mill Reef, everyone sees the grave, everyone knows who he is. And it's just left that imprint really on the public, and of course on the modern thoroughbred. So the famous words at the bottom of the statue is quite amazing, I find. It really shows the admiration Mr. Mellon had for Mill Reef and the public in general. And of course these words were from his Gimcrack speech in 1970, and I feel with those words you can really connect to the horse and connect to what people felt when they saw Mill Reef, when they saw him racing.
Already getting a tremendous reception from the crowd. The Derby winners packed up. It's Mill Reef, the fantastic winner of the King George. It's Otis, Mill Reef, acclimatisation and Stintino, but Mill Reef striking the front now as they race towards the furlong pole. It's Mill Reef being chased by acclimatisation and Stintino. They're racing into the final 150 yards, and it's Mill Reef clear of Otis. Then comes acclimatisation and Stintino, and racing up towards the line, already getting a tremendous reception from the crowd. The Derby winners packed up. It's Mill Reef, the fantastic winner of the King George.
Bright
Beam and K Brasho are still leading it. Welsh Pageant is close in behind them on the inside. Mill Reef moving smoothly up on the outside of the field together with Caro. 2.5 furlongs to go, and Mill Reef has come through to take it up with Caro pressing him on this side. As they pass the 2 furlong marker, it's Mill Reef and Caro coming away with Quayside in third place, followed by Welsh Pageant. The 2 pacemakers have dropped out of it, and with 1.5 furlongs to go, it's Mill Reef from Caro. Mill Reef definitely clear of Caro with just over 1 furlong to go. A long way back in third place, Quayside, followed by Welsh Pageant. 150 yards to go, and it's Mill Reef coming away in magnificent style, well clear of Caro in second place. A good race for third place as they come up to the line. Mill Reef the winner, Caro second, Welsh Pageant third, and Quayside fourth. A magnificent win by Mill Reef. 5 or 6 lengths, I would think, clear of Caro in second place, Welsh Pageant third, and Quayside fourth. And nobody can say we haven't got a good Derby winner this year. Let's have another look. I'm sure John Lawrence will love to go through the replay of this. We'll join him.
He doesn't just beat the Frenchman, he murders him. He leaves him standing from that point, and away he goes, quickening even again now. What a tremendous performance, a really marvellous performance by the Derby winner, Mill Reef.
And Jeff Lewis being clapped all the way up. You don't often hear this. He'll get a great reception when he gets to the winner's enclosure, but you don't often hear a horse clapped all the way up the walk here at the back of the stands. I'm not sure that I've ever heard it before. Perhaps I did with Arkle or Millhouse in the Whitbread, I'm not sure, but I don't think I've ever heard a flat race winner clapped as he went up behind the stands here long before he got to the unsaddling enclosure. This is really a heartwarming reception. Yes, lovely. Oh, wasn't that lovely? I do hope Mill Reef thoroughly understands what it's all about. I think he does, don't you?
Ossian in the lead from Ortiz and Ramsar. Then comes Mill Reef tucked in just behind him on the inside. Then comes Hallers. Then Miss Dan, who's making good progress. Just in behind them, One for All, the American. Pistol Packer making ground wide towards the outside as they've got 4.5 furlongs to run now in the Arc de Triomphe. And as they race towards the home turn, Ortiz has come there very strongly. Sharapur holding his position. Then comes Ramsar on the inside. Royalty's fighting his way back into the picture. Miss Dan's coming there strongly towards the outside, with Pistol Packer also coming there. They've got 3.5 furlongs to run, and it's Sharapur who's hit the front with Hallers. Lester Piggott coming to take it up off him now, and it's Hallers from Mill Reef who's moved into second. Then comes Pistol Packer towards the outside, and it's Mill Reef on the far side who struck the front with 2 furlongs to run. Pistol Packer coming to challenge him. Then comes Caro and Hallers, and it's Mill Reef for England from Pistol Packer from France as they race into the final furlong. It's Mill Reef from Pistol Packer. Cambrizia is coming there strongly, but it's Mill Reef holding Pistol Packer. Cambrizia coming there on the line, but at the line, Mill Reef's the winner. Pistol Packer.
They're off in the Pre-Gannet, 2,100 metres, just over 1.25 miles, and Mill Reef back in 5th place at the moment as Mary Slipper takes them along from Conquistador, Willie Carson. Then comes Lester Piggott on Credit Man just in behind him, and then Mill Reef has moved into 4th now, relegating Lombardo, Japanese owned now, to 5th place on his outside. Then comes El Toro just in behind them, racing up the hill, and Mary Slipper, Tommy Carter, taking him along from Conquistador on the inside, then Credit Man, then Mill Reef. So British jockeys 1, 2, 3, 4 at the moment in this Pre-Gannet, and it's still Mary Slipper Slipper in the lead from Conquistador, then Credit Man, then Jeff has eased Mill Reef towards the outside, towards the right as we see them now, but still Mary Slipper in the lead from the white-faced Conquistador, then Mill Reef who's moved into third now and coming on the outside to join Conquistador, then comes El Toro going strongly just in behind him. They're beginning to race towards into the home stretch now, and Mill Reef is suddenly taken off from Conquistador and El Toro, and he's striding away from them, and Jeff Lewis a peep over his left shoulder, and another peep, and he'll need binoculars soon. He's really opened up a gap. This is the first time the French race crowd have seen him since he won the Arc de Triomphe, and they're really loving this, and they're giving him a great ovation, and Mill Reef enjoying it too, and he's opening up a gap of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lengths as he strides away. You don't often see £30,000 prizes won with this ease. It's Mill Reef and the rest nowhere.
But I've got a picture of it, and I've worked it back with a thumb.
It's nothing like 10.
It's 15. It's actually 15. It's just half a thumb off of 15, so it's 14 and a half lengths, you know. That was one of his greatest performances.
The little horse now seems unbeatable.
They've got a quarter of a mile to go, and Homeric on the rails is still just the leader from Mill Reef, but Jeff Lewis hasn't really asked him to do anything yet, but he's asking him to quicken now, and he's getting the response coming into the final furlong now, and it's Mill Reef from Homeric with Wenceslas back in third place, but Homeric is running on very gallantly indeed, and Mill Reef's going to have to keep working. Jeff Lewis is keeping him right up to it, and there's not going to be a lot in it at the line, but at the line it's Mill Reef by not more than a head or a neck from Homeric in second place, Wenceslas third, and right
Mill Reef himself, when he was still hale and hearty at the National Stud, and that, don't forget, is a horse who shattered his fetlock as a 4-year-old.
There can be no doubt that Mill Reef is Europe's premier classic sire. A superlative performer in his own right, Mill Reef was victorious in 12 of his 14 starts, including the Epsom Derby, the Eclipse, the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Stakes, and the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. His deeds on the racecourse have been more than matched by his achievements at stud. Mill Reef has been responsible for Shirley Heights, Glint of Gold, Acamas, Fairy Footsteps, Wassel, and the European champion older male Diamond Shoal, seen here winning the Group 1 Grand Prix de Saint-Cloud.
À l'extérieur, à mi-ligne droite, Diamond Shoal est aux prises avec Rémi Gold qui précède encore Esprit du Nord qui est à la lutte avec Zalataya. À la distance maintenant, Diamond Shoal garde l'avantage et Lancastrian se rapproche très fort côté corde. À 100 mètres du poteau, Diamond Shoal garde une encolure d'avance sur Lancastrian suivi de Zalataya.
The Mill Reef success story continues in 1984 with 6 group winners, including Italian Oaks Victress, Paris Royal. Mill Reef is also becoming an important sire of sires, a fact highlighted by the ever-increasing reputation of Shirley Heights, who we shall be seeing in a moment.
I don't think there's anyone who enjoys racing more than I do, or the sight of mares and foals grazing in green fields, or yearlings running wild and throwing themselves about. These scenes remain vividly in my mind's eye. It is an inner picture gallery that I can return to in quiet moments. Sights and sounds of the countryside, as well as the color and action of the racecourse, are what turn me on. The elements of racing that attract me have an aesthetic quality. It's the color, the movement, the speed, the excitement, the competition, the skill of riding, the cleverness of the horses, and the primitive element of luck. but it is mostly the love of the horse, the well-kept, well-trained, beautifully moving horse, the horse as an object of art. Thoroughbred racing and breeding have always been among my greatest lifetime interests. I saw my first live English race at Newmarket in 1929. I still hark back to those long, soft, eminently green gallops stretching to the horizon in the slanting afternoon sun. The high old stands filled with people. The bright colors of the silks flashing by, the sheen of the horses' coats in the paddock bay, the post parade with its colorful jockeys, the pageantry of the grandstanders, the winking of the parimutuel board, the hush and then the roar of the crowd, the addictive craving of wanting to win, win, win. It's a marvelous thrill to win. I bought my first racehorse in 1933, 2 years after I came home from Cambridge. My father was quick to say that any damn fool knows that one horse can run faster than another. A number of horses, and some 38 years later, I achieved every owner's dream. I had bred a classic horse, a great horse, whose name would always rank among the highest in the annals of racing. A colt who was destined to become one of the great racehorses of all time. His name was Mill Reef. When he was a yearling, it was clear that he was no ordinary horse.
Coming up to the 2 furlong marker, and Mill Reef coming up to join.
After winning his first race at Salisbury, his 2-year-old season was extraordinary. His career flourished. Over a 2-year period, he won some of the most important races in Europe.
As he races up towards the line, Mill Reef has it absolutely clear. As they race up towards the line, it's Mill Reef, the winner of the King George from Queen Elizabeth Stakes. Now inside the final furlong from Linden Tree. Irish Ball still finishing fast, but Mill Reef going away from Linden Tree, and then Irish Ball. And Mill Reef's going to win the Derby. It's at the line. It's Mill Reef clear of Caro and Welsh Patchen, and coming up to the line, Mill Reef wins the Eclipse. It's suddenly taken off from Conquistador and El Toro, and he's striding away from them, and Jeff Lewis a peep over his left shoulder, and another peep, and he'll need binoculars soon. He's really opened up again. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lengths. Striding into the final furlong. It's Mill Reef going to be the first English trained winner for 23 years. He's clear of Pistol Packer and coming up towards the line. Mill Reef is the winner from Pistol Packer second.
He was the first horse ever to have won the Epsom Derby and the Prix d'Arc de Triomphe in the same season. Mill Reef's last race was the Coronation Cup, run over the Derby course at Epsom in June 1972. He won by just a neck over Homeric. It was a brave performance because he was almost certainly suffering from the effects of a viral infection. All eyes, however, were looking toward the Eclipse Stakes, in which both Mill Reef and Brigadier Gerard, the only horse to have decisively beaten Mill Reef, were due to meet again. But the trial between these two great horses never took place. We had to scratch Mill Reef from the Eclipse and to cancel what was to have been the race of the century. While cantering on the downs near Kingsclere, he broke the cannon bone of his near foreleg. Normally, this would have meant his being destroyed, but Mill Reef's potential as a stud was such that a complex and delicate operation was undertaken to save his leg. X-rays showed that a triangular piece of bone nearly 3 inches long had broken off from the cannon bone. Unless it was replaced, Mill Reef would never walk again. The 7-hour operation was to bind the splintering bone together again with a metal plate and 3 enormous screws. The operation was a success. Through the skill of the veterinarian surgeon and the dedicated care of a team of handlers, Mill Reef recovered. Since all of his triumphs had been in Europe, I decided to send him to the National Stud at Newmarket, where he would be syndicated for breeding. During his 14 active breeding years, he sired a remarkable number of successful offspring, including 3 European Derby winners. For years, whenever I traveled to England, I'd make the journey to Newmarket to visit Mill Reef. In 1986, he died. Like so many of my old friends, he's gone. I've been through so many different kinds of life in my life that it's hard to make an amalgam of them. Most of my decisions, whether in collecting, in philanthropy, even in thoroughbred racing and breeding, are the result of intuition. The hunches or impulses that I act upon, whether good or bad, just seem to rise out of my head like those word balloons in the comic strips. Of all the things I have done, collecting is one of the most important. I have taken great pleasure in looking at works of art, and much of my life has been devoted to making it possible for others to do the same. Especially those little citizens who, with wide eyes, enjoy looking at pictures. There is no doubt that museums are places where one can learn. But I take my hat off to those who visit just for pleasure. They, too, are fueling the engine of civilization, and frankly, if getting there is half the fun, I would rather ride in their car. Over the years, I have enjoyed sharing such treasures through the Yale Center for British Art, the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts, and the National Gallery, among others. You may count on my haunting these chambers of beauty for as many years as fate will allow me, and who knows, perhaps even after that. I am told that money is power, and I expect many have wondered why I haven't used mine for that purpose, to prevail in business, to seek public office or an ambassadorship, to see my name in the papers more often. For many reasons, the idea of power has never appealed to me. What has appealed to me is privacy. To me, privacy is the most valuable asset that money can buy. I have been an amateur in every phase of my life. An amateur poet, an amateur scholar, an amateur horseman, an amateur farmer, an amateur soldier, an amateur connoisseur of art, and an amateur museum executive. The root of the word amateur is the Latin word for love, and I can honestly say that I've thoroughly enjoyed all the roles that I have played. But in these later years, I have grown to look on myself more and more as an anachronism, an incongruity, an emissary of the past, and well, yes, a perennial student, wondering but innocent of the great complexities of the day, staring speechless at the swift march of science, the tides of faster and faster computers, the giant strides in genetics, and man's seemingly infinite probes of the universe. I hope that I have made no excuses for the lack of what most of the world considers success, just as I hope that I have not overstated whatever contributions I have made to my fellow humans or fallen into the trap of excessive pride. I have always been aware of the tremendous advantages the circumstances of birth have brought me, but I have also learned that immense wealth has its unpredictable and often devastating effects. The beautiful paintings on the walls were not all that was reflected in the silver spoon. My plea is not to take life too seriously, to temper future responsibility with pleasure, to take time out to smell the flowers. What we often really need is an hour alone to dream, to contemplate, or simply to feel the sun. Perhaps that is power.